Hello, Christie Arkovich from Tampa, Florida. We are a student loan firm and we help those with student loan debt try to figure out a solution. And so I wanted to break down President Biden's announcement today. There's a number of things. First and foremost, the $10,000 universal debt relief is the headline, obviously. That's something we've been waiting for a while. Importantly, if you've had a Pell Grant, that means it's $20,000. It is going to be income capped. In other words, if you make more than $125,000 or married $250,000, you will not be eligible. But I think this overall is something that we were widely expecting, and it's something that an application will need to be filed by the end of the year. It's possible that the Department of Education and IRS and so forth will have your income information already on file and may do it automatically. We don't know. But I think that you need to have a direct loan in order to be eligible. There is a provision that says for those loans that are held by the Department of Education, this relief would apply to them. So this is yet another reason that someone would want to consolidate their loans to direct by the end of the year in order to get this relief. A few other things were covered. One is that it also allows for a new income-driven repayment program. And this is huge because we have a lot of clients who, they make fairly good money, but there's a lot of expenses. You know, they're caring for their parents, they've got a child in college or some medical issues, whatever it is. It may sound deserving, and it may be very well deserving of a hardship, an undue hardship under some circumstances. But for student loans, your individual expenses are simply not counted for the income-driven plans. And so we have a lot of clients who can't even afford an income-driven plan. Most of them are 10 to 15 to 20% of discretionary earnings, and that's calculated from a tax return or pay stub after expenses are allocated and taken out. So this new plan is to reduce those with undergrad loans, reduce the percentage to only 5% of discretionary earnings. That's a very low amount. The other thing is it's intended to recalculate expenses differently so that more expenses are allowed, less income is counted as discretionary. I'm not sure exactly how they plan on doing that, but instead of having the 150% of poverty level for someone's expenses automatically taken into account, it's probably going to be a higher level, maybe 200,000, maybe it'll be a sliding scale, 200 to 300 for this amount of income and so forth. But regardless of what the inner workings are, the important thing is there soon, in the next few months, will be a new income-driven plan that will allow for someone to keep their credit in good shape and good standing, and also allow for a lower payment than what is currently required under pay, repay, or income-based repayment, or even income contingent repayment. So stay tuned for the details. Once we know them, we'll go ahead and put some information out. I have questions myself, specifically with Parent Plus loans, how they're going to be calculated if they're eligible for those Parent Plus loans, so forth and so on. But that IDR program is huge. It's a long-term fix for a person who can't even afford the current income-driven plans. The public service loan forgiveness. It was addressed a little bit. Basically, those with late payments, those with lump sum payments they may have made, certain categories of employment, that's going to be expanded. The announced changes are going to come out. Basically, they're going to be a permanent fix to the public service program. I think that's wonderful. The problem that I have with the announcement today is that they did not indicate that there's any extension of the October 31 deadline. For those who haven't been keeping track, that deadline is huge. Someone who has the older FFEL loan types or any problems where their payments haven't counted before, they need to make sure that they consolidate to a direct loan by October 31. The wording of some of the materials from the Department of Ed makes it unclear whether the application is what needs to be filed or whether the funding, whether the application needs to be completed and the loan actually funded so there is a direct loan. We're going with the latter to be safe. So we believe that anyone who is working public service or has worked public service that needs to get that time to count. Maybe it has not been counting in the past because either the wrong loan type, the wrong payment plan, it was late, it was, whatever the problem was, as long as there was some kind of payment made, It's important that you can consolidate now, get it done before October 31. You can use the forbearance waiver, the IDR waiver that was also announced last year in April, to have those periods count too. You combine them both. There's tons of people who are going to get public service relief that had never gotten it before. But I'm worried because the October 31 deadline is getting close and it's not been extended. One of the most important things of this announcement today is that they're extending the repayment deadline from from August 31, which is basically a week away, to December 31. So that's great. I mean, 4 months of no payments. However, it's going to be problematic because people are going to look at their loans in January. What happens in January? Well, this other stuff, all the time period's gone. You know, the deadline to file an application for the universal debt forgiveness of $10,000 to $20,000, that expired December 31. The time period to get credit for extended forbearances, that expired December 31. The time period to get credit for public service loan forgiveness, well, that expired October 31, 2-3 months earlier. So all these deadlines are going to be coming and going before someone picks up the paperwork again in January to see, oh, what should I do with my student loans? So do us a huge favor. Make sure you look at your loans now. Figure out what you want to do. Figure out which programs help you. Listen to our videos. Check out our blog. We have some free information on our blog. If you would like a one-on-one consultation, if you have additional credit questions specifically regarding your loans, please reach out. Schedule a one-on-one consultation with us. Make sure you get what is out there now. Don't wait till January. I fear if you wait till January, these deadlines are going to have expired. It's not like we need work. We have tons of people. We have tons of work out there. But these deadlines, you need to deal with them now. If you wait till January, it's going to be too late. Last thing I'd like to leave you on is interest. The announcement today basically said there'll be no accrual of interest. It will be waived during an IDR if the payment under the income-driven payment plan is not enough to cover the interest. Enormous. One of the large problems that we have with income-driven plans is people are worried about the accrual of interest. If you complete the plan, it's okay. It will ultimately be forgiven. But then there's a question. If the forgiveness is after 2025, will it be taxed? If someone gets a much better job, will they still qualify for IDR? Will the government change the programs? You know, in 20-25 years, is the government going to be completely broke and no longer able to offer a tax-free or even discharge at all? So those questions exist, and not having the interest accrue while you're on income-driven really helps clear things up, gives people more clarity that their balance will not continue to go up while their payments remain reasonable. At least the balance won't continue to go up. So that's a benefit for someone who ultimately ends up making a lot more money later in their career and has to bounce back out of an income-driven plan. So great news. Some of the other things in the background is the government has some changes with capitalization of income that's forthcoming. They've also agreed to a settlement on the for-profit fraud schools. That's known as Sweet versus Cardano. We have some videos about that. So there's a lot of specific things, but I'd like you to stay tuned, and there'll be more information about these particular announcements. This is just a preliminary announcement today. But other than the worry I have about the October 31 deadline coming and going, I think it's all good news. So hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.